Ellen G. White's, or Ellen G. White. Mandela effect that happened for me overnight this week. Why has it happened to this person? If you have been listening to our videos, you will know Brant and I shared that from our very detailed observations that we document, many Mandela effects happen in line with our life experience moment to moment. It's very noticeable to us now that it's been brought to our attention, and that has an effect on us as well. It appears close to nobody has wanted to believe us because we are just Brant and Chanel, but members of this community have just provided us with a very good example of what is happening. In this persistent campaign to sabotage us, I have now learned that I and my spiritual work have been likened to Ellen G. White's, a false prophet with some specific information of why her in particular. Wasn't too happy when I found out about this. So I saw what SC1 said about me to Lydia. Just in all of his communication now, this brother seems like a completely different person, different nature now to who we knew before. Washington Jackson just has a real knack for putting hearts in a different gear, disengaging kindness that they are perfectly capable of before he comes along. So I was likened to Ellen G. White's, and that is what SC1 wrote in his comment. Ellen G. White's with an S on the end. I'd never heard of her until then, so I had to do some research on her. And that surname White's was grating on my spirit as I thought about what I wanted to say to SC1 about this. It definitely stood out to me as I wanted to say White without the S. I made a private video about it, and after I recorded the audio while still sitting in the car, I still had this pressing feeling on my spirit like it wasn't right. I don't like to share anything that isn't right. I really like to get the information I'm talking about correct in every way because I know everyone picks apart everything I say. So I went back and I triple checked. Yes, it had an S on the end. I thought, okay, I've said it right. I don't know why it doesn't feel right, but I can proceed. So I sent that video to SC1, Brant and Lydia. The next day, SC1 made his comment to the video, and his response was pretty typical. It's just like everyone is programmed to avoid the direct questions we ask. I know that Jesus would never not answer a question, so after everything we have seen in strange behaviour from the unaffected on a mass scale, it is very concerning to us. We actually would not expect that from one person, but you are all doing it. That lack of an answer, which Lydia was also anticipating along with us because she's seen enough to anticipate it too, prompted Lydia to ask me for the information on this woman so she could make a video herself, which she has done. I had to go back to Google to get those links to send her, and lo and behold, when I did that, the very next day, Ellen White's was now Ellen White. Not only an overnight change, but it is obvious to me in my personal experience. I had a very clear sign given to me in the feeling I had about her surname. SC1 wrote Ellen White's with an S on the end. We have the evidence of that. What we don't know for sure, though we have an inkling, is if SC1 is the person who came up with this likeness of this woman to me, or if he was fed that information from one or more of the Christian sabotage group. But regardless, it is a Mandela effect, and it happened right when the issue had come to light, brought to my attention. Unless anyone else here is being likened to Ellen White's behind closed doors, that is a direct Mandela effect linked to my life yet again. Added to the list. It's upsetting to me because this has been going on for a long time and nobody cares. I can't stop it, and if I see it, I can't unsee it. And of course, if you see something like that, you want to know what it is about. If it was happening to you, you would also want to know and would like someone to look at the evidence to see it. We know that that's true because of how everyone responded to seeing reality change in the first place. You all wanted to know. The only way to find out is to pray on it and ask Jesus. So now I know what it is about, but none of you seem to care. I feel like your response to this is no different to the unaffected people. No different. Exactly the same. So alike, you could win an award for it. But the hypocrisy in it is that you are behaving how you don't want others to behave. You mock them for it, and then you turn around and you do it yourself. It's very, very hard for us to watch you doing that and not pull our hair out or hit our heads against a wall. It frustrates you that they do it to you, so why would you do that same frustrating thing? What Brant and I do not like in other people, we try not to be ourselves. We didn't like nobody wanting to hear the Bible is changing. Therefore, we are open to listening to what others might see that we can't see. I know the Lord is changing things in line with Brant and my lives to try and wake you up if you stop to listen. But mostly, He is doing it to encourage Brant and I that we are not imagining everything we go through. It's real, and we have to keep listening to Him and nobody else. Very hard to do in some situations that you make incredibly painful for us, but no question that we will. But I'm wondering if you will ever stop to listen, or if you will ever even answer any of our questions. What we see is that there is a very powerful spirit controlling people when we ask questions that makes everybody not want to answer them. It started back with Nina, when I asked questions about why they were doing what they were doing, and Nina's words were, "A response will not be given." And we have witnessed that in every person since. I'm pretty sure Nina made no public announcements to you that she made this statement and expected everyone to follow it. There is something else underlying that is making sure that happens. If you don't believe that is true, just answer the questions. So simple. Can you imagine someone asking Jesus questions and not understanding a situation and Him turning around and saying, "A response will not be given"? To think that is absolutely ridiculous. And while we are not Him, we are supposed to at least try and be like His ways, especially when it's simple like answering a question. Jesus might walk on water, but I'm not asking you to do that. I did the private video to give SC1 a chance to answer the questions privately. That's fair and unfair, but he didn't answer them. Such a simple question I asked him, and he still could not do it. I asked him, did he come up with the Ellen G. White's comparison, or was he fed that information? Where did this start? You would think, being caught spreading misinformation, which I'm about to explain, he would answer the question to at least try to redeem himself somewhat. I wanted to know because he had specifically put Watchtower Society in brackets to emphasize the point Ellen White's was part of the Watchtower Society. Just like Matthew 24 verse 15 has brackets about the abomination of desolation. It says in brackets, "Whoso readeth, let him understand." That put in brackets is to highlight it to us, a clue from the Lord to the people who are meant to know that the abomination of desolation is effectively Bible changes that we read. Why is Watchtower Society in brackets there in what SC1 wrote? Highlighted, emphasized. It's because I was raised as a child in the JW religion run by Watchtower Society. I don't think SC1 ever heard that from me, but others sure make a point of it, and he sure is making a point of it here to Lydia, suggesting that both those false prophets are connected to the same organisation. So we must be the same by default, have the same ideas and motives. Firstly, it is a slap in the face because I was very honest about my past, and it's tough having honesty used against you. To me, it's a non-issue because I left almost 30 years ago, and I've been an active voice against it. Paid the price for being an active voice against it by being shunned by extended family members I love who are still trapped in it. You have no idea. Nobody else is having their childhood used against them. But me, you chain me to mine and wonder why I feel like I'm treated differently. No different to Brant, though, working for the White House and Pentagon previously. He was honest about that because he is honest, and now he must be some government spy or something. The most spying Brant does is peering out his windows to see if Jesus is on his way to stop this madness these people insist on. But the other point about Ellen White's is that she is not linked to Watchtower Society at all. Someone has dropped the ball and not done their research very well. And it's pretty easy research that comes up in the first page results of Google. I know SC1 used this information and spread it to another. Seeing as he hasn't bothered to answer my question if he was told this information or not, I guess he wants to be the one known for not doing very simple research and still planting the seeds of misinformation in someone's mind. My assumptions are he didn't start it. I have no evidence, so can't accuse it, but I have seen this group of sabotagers do so many things that are so sloppy, not right, and just don't add up. It's very believable for them to dream this up too and just push it out to the gossip vine. That's my experience with them. They do not care how they take us down. Anything goes, and if they are caught doing anything wrong, there is no apology. Just pathetic justifications, if anything. I'm pretty sure at this point, if they shot and killed me, they would justify it in their mind. Because they don't like 0.00001% of who I am and what I'm about, the rest just doesn't matter. Nobody cares I'm a mother and a wife and a daughter and a sister and always lead a good life, kind to everyone, try to help all, and encourage everyone to Jesus. Oh, and I'm affected. None of it matters to them. If it did, this nightmare would not be happening. If it did matter, they would respect me enough to at least have a conversation to get all of the facts right of what I actually believe and not fill in the gaps of their own mind with things that they're just making up. Ellen G. White was the founder of the Seventh-day Adventist Church, so very different denomination. She is called a false prophet by the Watchtower Society, so they actually agree with you all on this. It would be nice if people got the facts right before they scratch their itch of damaging other people's reputations. This is just playing dirty, and there is nothing about Jesus in this behaviour. It just boggles our mind. Such genuine boggling of our mind that you think this is okay. What did you see about me the same as her anyway? In this comment passed on by SC1, it was said to be the rapture and rapture dates. I have no opinion on the rapture because the Mandela effect has literally made me wait on the Lord for any future event anyone thought they knew anything about. In my opinion, if we didn't know that the Bible would supernaturally change, none of us know anything. So I'm not like Ellen in that way at all. She did believe in a loving God as I do, but we all do. She has specific locked-in ideas about salvation and what happens if you attain it or if you don't. Again, I have none because of the Mandela effect. My message is Jesus asked us to love everyone and show the fruits of the Spirit. So let's do that. And let's also let Jesus worry about who is going to be saved and not saved. Nowhere in Scripture were we named to stand in for him on that role. If rather than loving someone right now, you are treating a person as though they are condemned, like what is done to us, you have condemned them because Jesus has not done that yet. Scripture says do not condemn one another, and yet you do it. What? Anyway, so I'm not like Ellen in that way either. She founded a whole religion. I can't even get a handful of supposedly awake people to listen to me with any kind of seriousness, even though my evidence adds up, even when cross-examined. Not like her again. Pretty sure she didn't see reality in the Bible changing. Big difference between us there. The thing that I have most in common with Ellen is that neither of us are associated with the Watchtower Society, which is very ironic under the circumstances of what was said. The other thing SC1 said is that she wanted to cause rifts with anyone with sound doctrine, meaning I do too. To see somebody saying that, it makes me feel like asking, do the words come out of my mouth, then turn upside down before they go into people's ears, for anyone to think that I want rifts? I have never scrambled so much in my entire life to have the rifts other people started to end. Betraying someone like Nina did to me, which is where all this started, is creating a rift. Shunning someone is creating a rift. Telling them they are special, like Lucifer is special, like Jane said to me, is creating a rift. Telling lies publicly is creating a rift. Us forgiving everyone, but waiting for an apology and change in behaviour is not creating a rift. It's actually having hope in you that you can lift yourself to a higher standard. These sabotagers want me to believe that they are right about me, but this is the level of wisdom I'm looking at. I know they are smarter than this, so I just don't understand. Any mother knows it is tiring debating with 2-year-olds who have no reasoning mind. This is what it feels like to me. It honestly does. And just like Lydia said to me today, it's like when we say 2 plus 2 equals 4, you all want to say it equals 5. 2 plus 2 will never equal 5, no matter how much you want to believe it. It would be a little bit harder for us to say you were blinded if, when we pointed out that you had said and done the wrong thing, you responded in a way more like, oh wow, yeah, I did. I really did not do my research there. I was comparing you against someone specific and was using that as intentional ammunition to damage you, but it's not even accurate information. Whoops. I still don't agree with a lot of what you say, but I'm really sorry I did that because that's kind of a low thing to do that nobody likes having done to them. That would be a normal response if a person was caught red-handed spreading misinformation to slander someone. By all good people, but definitely awake Christians exercising humility. But what do I get? SC1's first comment. Oh, for crying out loud. Cut it out. That's how people speak to me. Angry, defensive, justifying all they do, and belittling me as they do it. I'm a highly sensitive person and have already been hurt with at least 1,000 ridiculous things before this one. And I wish everyone else would cut it out. If SC1 did that to anyone else here and they found out about it, they would be putting him in his place too. Because it's just bad morals, what he was caught doing. And they would certainly not be expecting the person who is caught doing that to then turn around and say for them to cut it out. He also gave us, on his own, perfect written evidence for what the three of us have known to be true the whole time. He said he cannot and will not support two people who think they are the two witnesses. So that means anyone can do anything to us on his watch. We are good people, we contribute a lot, we are affected, but because we believe that, we deserve to be lied about. That is so twisted, it's beyond disgusting. There are some people here who believe the Mandela affected are the 144,000 as I do, the tribes being gathered, because it is a rather significant separation none of us can ignore, and it's realer than real. The 144,000 topic among the affected is very varied in opinions, but the ones that are convicted that they are one of the 144,000 are not being treated how Brant and I are being treated. There is the same chance they are wrong, but they are not targeted like us and shamed like us and abused like us. There is some very special reaction that is reserved just for the two witnesses topic. Painful as it is, it's somewhat fascinating from a psychology point of view, how humans behave and how a hive mind works. And when we point to comparisons like this of the people who believe there are 144,000, you just can't seem to grasp it either, which is also fascinating, because to not see something is a blindness. You seem to have no ability to see you are doing to us what your pastor and Christian friends are doing to you. No ability whatsoever. We've pointed it out many times. I've had Washington Jackson write recently and say to me he has no idea if I am an intentional deceiver or non-intentional deceiver. This was after 2 years of knowing us, mind you, and he was still not clear in his own mind about that point, yet ironically had already influenced many to believe we were intentional deceivers. That is the kind of mind that is driving this campaign. Unsure, but full steam ahead. Some call that reckless. This is the strangest war that is going on. From our perspective, our own people are killing us off. It feels like that because every effort is made to turn people against us, no matter what we're talking about. And it's hard to survive the Mandela effect experience without people who are going through the same experience. You know that, or you would not be here yourself. There would be no community. Yet in knowing that, you are still doing everything you can to make sure we have nobody. I can promise you that sensitive people, without having Jesus right there to keep picking them up, would just not survive what you are doing. They would commit suicide for sure, because there's nothing else left in the world for them. The forced ostracization in this particular circumstance is just that cruel and dangerous. That is really taking a situation to the extreme. And it's a big risk because if something happened, you are responsible for that. Ellen G. White's Now White is a Mandela effect based on my life experience this week. Somebody or somebodies other than me started that. We have already stated many times prior to this that Mandela effects happen in a specific way in line with Brent and my life experience. This has now happened with Ellen White's to give you an indication we are telling you the truth. Truth is worth investigating. Every supernatural experience is significant, and if it is this specific right in this moment, of course it has a meaning to it. In knowing it would have to have a meaning, those with wisdom would want to find out the meaning to it. Oh, yes, you could certainly lazily assign it a meaning that suits your agenda, but again, that is not what truth seekers do. So it would only prove that you are not what you say you are again. When people say they are champion heavyweight lifters, they act like they are in all heavyweight lifting situations. We don't want a war. But if you want a war, at least play clean. And if you really want it, you should be putting in effort to make sure your desired win against us is not overturned later based on your own corrupt strategies. Is there a powerful spirit making you not answer any of our questions when Jesus would not behave that same way? Very normal human trait to ask questions, even more so in a painful, diabolical situation. Wise teachers even tell students there is no such thing as a dumb question to encourage them to ask questions. You yourself would ask questions if everyone was doing this to you. So, what we have done from day one in asking questions is normal. When you do horrible things to people and they are left in horrible pain, they will always have questions. So what we have done from day one in asking questions is normal. Every person involved not answering for years is what is not normal, or Christian, or fair, or kind, or wise, or acceptable. What frustrates me most about this situation is in shunning us, you give no value to us seeing Bible changes. And if there is no value to one person seeing it, there is no value to any seeing. And if there is no value, why does this community even exist at all? It makes everything we all live meaningless. We may as well just all get on with our lives and just see how it all pans out. We want every person affected by Bible changes treated the same way. The unaffected are looking on. If you say that it doesn't matter that two people see, why should they think it matters that anyone sees? This makes the Lord's plan a joke. So we are furious, but when we're furious, it's about that. My question on Ellen White's is who started that comparison of me to her, using Watchtower Society as the selling point, even though it was incorrect information? Lydia has already asked it and been ignored. It's one thing to do something to me, but when you do it to Lydia, boy, you sure push me to my limits. I know if my two daughters had been affected instead of me, they would not have been in safe hands with you. And one of the simple questions we have asked the whole time, and not one person has answered, is why is there no consideration, no bearing at all on the fact that we don't try to convince you ourselves, but ask you to pray on all information we hand down to you? Please tell us how that is being a deceiver. I am sick to death of being treated as a person who does not utter those words when I utter them regularly. please answer if you feel there is no spirit stopping you from doing so, and keep it specific to the point. We've waited 2.5 years, so just answer it in the same context I am asking it. Comments are on, but moderated. I could not live with myself if I did not answer someone who had asked something for such a long time and had been so patient waiting for the answer. I know none of you are me, but still, a good heart is a good heart.